God humbled me this weekend. I really have to tell you, I got so humbled. I got so unwell. I'm telling you, more unwell than I felt in years. And it's so interesting because I suppose with everything I've been doing and the fact that I don't ever get unwell and sick, I'm talking like, I even questioned, not to be dramatic, I questioned whether I was dying. It felt that terrible. And, it's quite vulnerable to say that because I had my kids with me in the hotel that I was just having a little breakaway with them, and they were worried, I had to call their mum and get them picked up, and then I ended up having to stay in a hotel for 3 days. Well, I'm going to go into all the details here of how God humbled me this weekend, and that's just not it. More things happened. So I think this happens regularly when you need to be put into check again, and you need to be humbled because something beautiful is about to arise in your life. So you need to remember that all the stuff you're chasing is meaningless. And so today's video is about how I got humbled, found my peace, healed through the grace of God, and then, let go of the stuff that just isn't important really. And so what actually happened? Well, Sunday night, I said to my wife, why don't I take the two young ones to the hotel? You can have some time with our eldest. And you can have some you time and just relax a bit and not have to worry about them and let me look after them. And you know what? Actually, for the most part, it was beautiful. I hadn't started to have a good day, but I just started to notice my tummy was starting to cramp. And I'd done some fishing with my son in the morning, and I bought some frozen squid and put it in the fishing trap that he wanted. And I think I left it a bit and then touched it again. I don't know. But I'm very blasé because I truly believe that I'm divinely protected. So maybe I didn't worry so much about me as I did about washing my son's hands. Maybe I made a mistake. I don't know. But later that day, I got so unwell and humbled within this hotel. And you know what? It really taught me as well, guys, is that, everyone that I'm trying to help out there who's scared, I got scared, and actually it's easy to forget what I always teach when you're scared and when you feel so vulnerable and alone. So I just want to tell you all that I see you, and what you're going through is scary and painful, and it's not always easy to be perfect. And I've said this many times on the channel, but I was there at one point, when I say to you to get peaceful and don't beg for healing, and I was like, please God, what, help me through this, and I begged. Even though I tell you don't need to beg. But in that moment of fear, I did it. And I want you to know that it's okay to have those moments. But it wasn't until I kind of got through that night and into the next day where I started to kind of find balance again and claim healing through God's guidance. And actually the guidance was quite easy and simple. It turned out, I started to feel a little bit better, but I couldn't move a lot. But I was like, do you know what? I've got to travel on Friday. So I was like, I'm going to the doctors. Spoke to him. Turns out he said, you've got a bacterial infection, likely from that squid. And he put me on antibiotics. And here I am now. It's 4 days later. And I'm just getting round. But I had to cancel everything and, let people down. It made me realise that I'd grown a bit of an ego, actually, of never getting sick, being the one who could help everyone even when he's tired. And I want to tell you, man, I'm actually tired. I'm actually fatigued on this mission. And I'm being real. This is a really raw video today. But it's okay because I needed to be humbled, and I'm about to go on holiday. And this interesting thing that happened when I was an actor. Every time you work yourself, and then you've got a break coming up, the body kind of breaks down. It used to happen to me as an actor as well, where I would get sort of a cold the week before my holiday, or it would be a struggle to get through the show. Well, this seems to happen this time. I'd worked so much because I wanted to help so many people to achieve what they believe, and I have been doing it, but at the sort of detriment of myself. So the other thing I want to talk about there is just realizing that your cup is the most important thing to fill, and if you don't do that, you won't be able to serve anyone. So what else happened? So we had that with the sickness, and then I had it with my van, which I just got fixed, got scratched by the gate. And then the aircon on my other car decided to break yet again. And so it's been a thing of threes. And it brings me back to Job, where Job says, that which I greatly feared has come upon me. Now, I wasn't fearing anything, But I suppose I always feel a bit funny about going away on holiday, like because I care for so many people, it makes me feel uncomfortable, and so it brings a slight worry about leaving on me, and I think that fear manifested in other ways, So again, recognizing the reason it happened. Firstly, God was humbling me, saying, get your ego out of the way. There's a little bit of ego coming in here and I don't want it. So my ego was rising up, maybe thinking that I was powerful, and maybe I'd slightly forgotten to give it to God, but I thought I was, So I just feel like I'm really humbled again to realize. The other thing I'm humbled by is that my body's ability to heal within this time, even though it was at the point where I felt like I could die. It was crazy. And so the other thing is, again, with the van and the car, they all have solutions. I'm about to take this time off, and I promise you I'm not working. I'm just ready not to work. And it's like, that's okay. So I'm making only a couple of videos now, this day, and I'm going to post them sporadically, and I'm going to trust in God. I'm going to get very prayerful, very trusting in the great divine presence that knows exactly only the answer. So sometimes we have to get humbled to learn how to rise up to the top. And it was in those moments where I was scared, where I lost all of my own teachings, when I realized how much more I need to give people to let go of that fear, because we all have fear within us, but the job is to let go of it. But once I was able to find balance, my body started to find healing again. One real positive out of it is I'm very skinny now, because I haven't eaten for about 4 days properly. So that's some wonderful news. But guys, I want you to know this. I love you all. I see you. Sometimes we have to be humbled. This was more of like rather than a teaching, just an expression video, so it's like, okay, sometimes we get humbled. It breaks us down. I felt at one point like, oh my gosh, the whole world's falling apart. Funny enough, an old client of mine's had I don't work with him anymore, but quite a high-profile person that I worked with has had a problem in his life, massive mental breakdown. But this was years after working with me. There's energy in the air at the moment. So one of the things I would say to you when there's a lot of chaos in the air is pray, get prayed up, man. Remember, stuff. Ambition, all of these things, they're lovely, but they're meaningless, yeah? Get prayed up, get centered, find peace, let the energy in your body move freely. I'd stopped doing my practices for about a week and was just going on fumes. And so when you don't let the energy in your body freely flow, and you stop letting go and you start holding on to things, it backs up and it shows itself. And that's what happened to me, and I got humbled again. So I'm going to go back to my inner life a lot more than what I'm trying to project out here or create out here for you guys and my family. But I am going to come back after my break, and I'm ready to go. But I just wanted to do this video today. I think it's a ramble, but I hope it makes sense.